and Joe sit down to chat. New ideas spark, they can't be that. Podcast fun, fury so grand. Laughter flows, no need for a band. From life stories to wild speculations, each episode brings joy, makes you relaxations. Lazy or gamble, we're off to explore. Laugh and learn, our show is forever. Incredible theories, side by side. Joyful moments we'll never hide.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Glazer Gamble podcast talking about Daredevil yet again. Yes, other Marvel stuff has been happening, but with Daredevil being the main focus, we're going to stick with that. The fact that, Blade is most likely canceled sucks. And there was one other big Marvel thing. Oh, the Avengers cast.
Yeah, yep. The seats. The 5-hour seats.
People just go watch the chairs. It's fine. We're here to talk Daredevil episodes 5 and 6. They didn't.
Yeah, we got spoiled a little bit as Marvel fans this week.
We did, and I didn't realize it was 2 episodes. So I watched the 5th one, and I was like, "All right, can't wait! I'm ready to record whenever we're good. I'm excited." And then you were like, "Yeah, did you watch episode 6?" I was like, "Oh, no, there's another one," but. Got to see 2, which was cool because the 5th one was kind of a full one shot. You kind of never really left the hostage situation. So the story didn't necessarily jump too far forward, nor did some developments, but
it was a cool little MCU connection.
Yeah, and seeing Matt get the seed planted to come back as Daredevil.
Right. You get a little bit of you get to see him in his in his element a little bit.
Right.
Being that protector of Hell's Kitchen. Kind of, even though he's in wherever he is, New York.
He's very Sherlock Holmes-esque in that where it seems like he has powers, which in this case he does, but Sherlock always seemed like he has powers and deduces things in the situation, so he feels like he always has the advantage.
Right.
And then the confidence, I don't know, and I felt like that episode showed that side of him where he seemed like the Sherlock
he put
Holmes
himself
guy.
Back into the situation.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Because I don't like you. The guy wanted to get rid of him.
Right.
But yeah, it was all kind of in one spot. So I think we heard that some people didn't like that one. I think that's ridiculous, but
yeah, I thought it was really cool. Actually.
Maybe they understood that people would have wanted to see the next jump in the story, as opposed to that one, which really didn't move the plot too far forward.
Sure.
6 definitely did that, at least character arc wise too.
Yeah, 6 was sweet. 6 was sweet too. I liked them both. I liked them both. I think 6 had my favorite line of the entire series so far.
Which
is my name on StreamYard, what we're streaming on right now.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
That was my favorite moment. And I was that was my favorite dialogue from the whole thing. But there was another scene that made me go, "Oh shit!"
So first of all, his name is Fuck It, because when Matt goes, he calls 911 to see if he help.
Hi, my name is. Yeah, he's like, "Hi, my name is Matt," and then they're like, "Hello, 911," and then he hangs up and he goes, "Fuck it," and I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yep. Throws down the horn onto Foggy's picture and goes and puts on his Daredevil uniform.
Yeah.
And goes and fights Muse. But that's again episode 6. Episode 5, we did get to see a character brought back, which was Kamala Khan's father, Yusuf.
Yeah.
And Matt Murdock got to meet with him because he wants a loan to expand
on his his lawyer thing with Kristen or whatever.
But then while at the bank with Yusuf, it gets robbed, and we get to see a whole hostage situation being held down by how Matt handled it. We get to see like someone was talking with those robbers. They had a boss that we never got clarity on who it was. So I'm wondering who that might be, if that's connected to maybe like the ring that Kingpin works over. Because we never got to see. It felt like the bank robbery had like there was a bigger picture to it that we didn't really get to see the top.
Right. And they were trying to get money for the exchange, I believe. I believe they were trying to get the money for the exchange. So that guy was the dude that killed the initial 2 members in like the first episode.
Oh, got it.
That dude was like, "You're in the wrong part of town," or something like that, and then he killed the one dude and then killed the other dude, and that's why that truck never got delivered, and that's why the one mafia members owe the other mafia members.
Got it.
So yeah, the Irishman was the guy that killed the 2 from the one gang trying to make that delivery. That's the connection there.
So it is.
Okay. I believe it's one of the groups trying to get the money to pay that debt.
And now it went up by another $1 million.
And now it went up because they didn't pay it. Yeah.
All right. Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. That clicked.
Yeah, yep.
For some reason, maybe it's the pattern in which I watch, but that definitely helped me click.
No, I had to have that connection I had to read that connection and be like, this is the Irishman from that initial truck sequence at the docks or whatever.
Got it.
That killed the 2. So yeah,
cool.
Well, so that's the reason. Yeah, so it's all kind of Matt stopping them also made Kingpin kind of get back. So it's like Daredevil's bringing Kingpin out and Kingpin's bringing Daredevil out, and
they don't even know.
So,
but there was that was pretty much honestly the gist of episode 5 was a hostage situation with the guy, one of the ring members, Kingpin's ring members, Daredevil. Matt helps out, saves the day. That's kind of it.
There's the whole like Yusuf Nurkic is what I almost said. Yusuf Khan connection there. You know, you talked up his daughter. He's a very proud father.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm not familiar. He doesn't get out much from Hell's Kitchen and New York, it seems like, to get over to Jersey City.
Yeah.
That Yusuf Khan cameo was pretty cool. I mean, like, because it also connects to
tough
the
get
Marvels.
A 7-footer on the screen like that.
Right. It takes you back to the Marvels where he's like explaining loans to one of the like alien dudes or one of the people up in space. He's like explaining like different kind of loan options, and he's like, this is what you should do. And so it takes you back to kind of that too.
Yeah.
And realize that he is is a banker and whatever. And then at the very end of that, he ends up in the first initial meeting, Yusuf Khan offers him like a butterscotch.
Yeah.
Like a butterscotch thing. And then he turns it down. And then when he like saves the day or whatever, he brings what the robbers were attempting to steal, which was this thick ass diamond.
Yeah.
And he just switches it out with one of the butterscotches and fools everyone. So it was pretty good. And then he went and messed up the Irishman.
Yeah, he did.
Good.
He did.
It pretty good.
Didn't try to get any information. Didn't do anything. Just broke his leg, beat him up. That was it.
Yep.
Probably left him for the police, but otherwise he just took care of him. Didn't do anything beyond that.
Right.
Which is cool. It's fun to see just a different type of Marvel hero.
Matt's been wanting to let out some aggression. That's why he went to Frank, and Frank was like, "You want my permission, don't you?"
Yeah.
So yeah, he wants to let out some aggression, and that's kind of what has been holding him back. Is he's afraid he's going to push it too far, like he did with Bullseye, and throw him off the roof or whatever. Right. But obviously, Bullseye is some kind of meta human. Like he's not he's not normal.
Right. There's got to be something because
He's got the metal spine, which could be vibranium, it could be adamantium, like
yeah.
it could be something like that. So yeah. And so he's afraid of going too far, so it's good for him to get these little doses of aggression out, but also like
Right.
not go overboard.
Well, and we see that
And
it does affect him because he started praying
right,
he started
right.
praying in episode 6.
Right, and you see him contemplate that choice of going too far or kind of pulling back and doing what's right, and you see
Right.
that in episode 6. So
Mhm.
when there's higher stakes.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the side characters that we've mentioned every episode, just because I think she's going to connect everything, but Heather, we didn't get to see much of her in these 2 episodes, but when we did see her, we did get to see her. At first, she acknowledges Matt's praying, but she also asks if he can connect her with Punisher or Daredevil.
Right, yeah, because she knows that he was Frank's lawyer earlier in the other seasons, and so she obviously knows he has that connection with Punisher, and then the Daredevil thing. No one assumes that the blind man is a superhero, so
Right, exactly. It's easy cover for him.
right.
But so we get to see her kind of reach into that world, so we're getting a deeper connection with her and the Daredevil side as well as the Matt side, and we already know she's connected to the Kingpin and Vanessa side.
A little bit of Muse too, possibly.
And that was the other thing is we got to see. Oh, you mean with her with Muse?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So we have a
connecting
connection with
that
Muse
as well, right?
So she's that center point. But speaking of Muse, we did get to finally delve into like the Muse side of what the show's gonna be, and he is just like in the comics using blood for the graffiti,
Right.
and we talked about that. I was like, dude, that is huge. That's huge murals. That's hard.
And then I was like, it wouldn't be like the 5 people that have gone missing. It's upwards of 60 plus is their assumption
so far. Because they found at least 5 different DNA matches
on each
in
mural,
12 separate murals. And that's just known murals.
Right.
So minimum of 50 to 60.
Right.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And then he's also mixing it with 2 separate
resin.
Yeah. So it's basically impossible to clean off as well. So he's got human blood all over the city.
Yeah.
And so we find out that he is actually using blood, and that like gruesome. And so that was the best part about episode 5 is because of the right before the credits was they showed Muse how he like kills his victims.
Right.
And
put the IV in, and you're like, oh, that's it. He just drains them like that. Nope.
And we also got to see that Adam was in Kingpin's basement.
Yeah. Yep.
But then, so that will come back later. But I lost my train of thought. What were we just talking
Muse's
about?
Muse and his victims.
So we got to see Muse take his victims out, and that was we got to see that Kingpin, how he is going to be connecting to Muse. Obviously, being the mayor of the city where the crimes are happening, but he is electing a special task force, the anti-vigilante force team or whatever.
A lot of corrupt, more than likely corrupt bad cops.
The commissioner said that you got every bad apple of the bunch. So he basically put together the entire team of cops with like bad check marks.
Right.
And including our friend that Matt beat up, and that was like from the initial movie, the initial episode,
right,
that was beating up on Nikki Torres. So we get to see that team get put together, and that's how Kingpin,
probably 15, 20 guys.
No body cams.
Yeah,
they specify no body cams. And he kind of wants to establish them as like a militant force to be respected.
Right.
Well, while he's doing that with Muse, Daredevil, that's when Matt, like, Muse is finally what makes Matt decide to come back as Daredevil, which, as you said earlier, he gets a phone call. Instead of calling, and while calling the police.
Soledad.
Well, yeah, he gets a
Soledad
call from
Ayala.
Soledad. She's calling to say that her daughter, the niece of White Tiger, didn't come home.
Right. She usually always checks in if she's going to be late, and nothing.
Right. And turns out that like she had earlier in the episode she had gone to Matt and asked for help, said she was going to do it herself. She was trying to
looking
find
into this,
Muse
and Matt was
herself.
like, yeah, and basically it was like, there's the subway station that's been abandoned, but like people are going. She's like centralized where people are going missing around.
Right.
And she's like, there's this place that's been abandoned. I'm gonna go check it out. And Matt's like, leave it alone. Like, let the police do their job. And then she's like, the police are the people that
killed
doing
him.
this. Yeah.
The police killed my uncle.
So, and then that's where Matt kind of put it all together when Soledad called and was like, she could be where she said she was going to be.
Which is when he says, fuck it, and puts on
yeah.
a Daredevil suit and goes down, and we get to see a really cool shot, which they've been consistent with the audiography and cinematography so far. And the part of Muse actually does have her, and he had started draining her blood already, but he heard a sound, checked, and Daredevil running down the tunnel when he's like, so he like looks down.
It's like smoky.
Yeah, Muse looks down, and so you can see like the lights, the red tail lights of the train that had just gone by, and a little bit of smoke, and then like out of the red light runs. All of a sudden, you see Daredevil's body once he gets close enough.
Yeah,
and then Muse just panics. They get into a pretty intense fight, which I thought Muse fought really well for.
Well, yeah, because Daredevil would have whooped him, like should have whooped him.
Yeah, I thought Muse was fighting really well for that. I didn't understand how he was.
Yeah, I thought he did pretty good.
Which also, especially because the guy under that suit did not look like he had the same body type as the guy who came to the book signing.
Yeah, right. He looked almost scraggly, but Muse looked put together, and maybe that's something with his persona too.
Right, maybe
his persona as Muse is different than his.
And they maybe put him in an outfit to make him look more scrawny, posture and everything.
Right.
But then when he's in his Muse outfit, he was
stoic,
puffing.
I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, he looked put together and actually held up a good fight. I expected Daredevil kind of just easily
wipe him a little bit,
which he did.
Yeah.
He was gonna kill him, but he heard
her
heartbeat fading to nothing, so he let go of Muse as he was hanging on the wall. Muse gets away.
Yeah, he had him wrapped around the neck, behind a ladder with his baton, his baton chain thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pulled him like a pulley system, just hung him up.
Yeah. Right.
But then instead he gets her heart going again, saves her.
Sees that Muse escaped.
Yep, sees Muse escaped, and the mirrored scene, because the whole point of
it's the parallels.
The parallels, yeah. They've shown Kingpin and him. They've said we're similar, you and I. And Matt's we're not similar, but the audience can see there's a ton of similarities. And they did a mirrored scene with while he was fighting Muse, Kingpin told Adam, who was locked in his basement, the story of how he used to fight men 3 times his size because they'd always put their hands on him, and he found a tool would help. So he gives Adam an axe.
Yeah, so Kingpin used a hammer, I believe.
Yeah, he killed his father with a hammer.
Right. So, yeah, gives him an axe, and Adam still gets tossed. So.
Yeah, and so basically, while he fights Adam, is bouncing back and forth between Daredevil and Muse and him and Adam. And both of them losing their cool, and then the parallel of I don't know. Adam, they acted like Adam wasn't dead.
Yeah, I think he is still breathing.
But it seemed like their parallel was to show that Kingpin killed him, or might have gotten close enough to where he will die, as opposed to Daredevil was going to kill him as well, but chose the
to save
somebody
niece.
to
Right.
free. It was, I don't know. They obviously showed the little bit of parallel, but both were going to kill. If anything, Kingpin would have shown more restraint had he not saved her. Daredevil
Right.
would have followed through while Kingpin didn't. So it was just
Right.
kind of cool story painting there, which is why I think episode 6 was maybe the best one yet. I think.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean it's sick, and a
I think a
couple
lot
other
of people are
things.
overhyping episode 4 because Punisher showed up.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that was the. I mean that was like it wasn't like necessarily can't like it was a cameo, sure, but like it also has a ton of relevance in the plot that they're doing.
Right.
So it's not like a cameo porn, you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
it's not like there just to get the people excited. Like it actually does make sense. And it also shows that Matt was like knew where he was the entire time.
Sure.
Which I think is cool. A couple other things about episode 6, and maybe even 5 a little bit. I don't know how much they like where they had that money making ball for the mayor, like the mayor's ball or whatever, and showing Kingpin trying to get money, or the mayor trying to get money from some of the most wealthy, where you see the swordsman.
Yeah.
Again, there's another cameo there.
Yeah. When I saw him, I was
So
like, hey, why do I know his face?
yeah, Kate Bishop's dad or stepdad or something like that.
Yeah, the one she thinks is the villain the whole time.
Yeah. So yeah, you see him, and then you even see a bit of his vigilanteism too.
Yeah.
He's like out there saving some people.
And threatens Kingpin.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they all kind of did a little bit. All the wealthy, like he definitely was not in his element there. They weren't afraid of him. I
Right.
think that was one of the kind of bigger pieces.
Right. It's similar to like what happens when he talks to Matt, where he
Right.
always seems like he's going to get angry because Matt has the even keel.
Yeah. So the one thing I wanted to point out was that he was trying on the suit. He was trying on a suit, and it like popped the
ripped,
seam.
like we talked
Yeah.
about.
It popped the seam, and then before his dinner, or at his dinner when he was eating next to Adam, it wasn't this little tiny dainty meal. Like it was pasta. It was a huge bowl of pasta with meat in it and red sauce, and
Yeah.
it
Because
showed
at first
that
it was
he's
an
not
egg white omelet, and then it was like a
yeah
full-on meal, and then it was
big
the
ass
pasta and like
yeah. So you might get to see the bigger Kingpin a little bit, and that's him going back to his ways a little bit.
yeah. With the new wardrobe coming in, it's gonna be nice and white.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big white suit with
So
a
yeah,
purple
it's
undercoat.
pretty dope. Yeah, it's pretty dope. So
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. I think
I love that.
I love that that's been a under story where it's like it's obvious once you call it out, but there are people that are, casually watching or having it on while they're on their phone or something where
Sure.
you might not have seen the still shot of his meal in episodes like 1 and 2.
Right.
Where that time he ate the pasta might have been, or the time ripping his suit might have been the first time you think they've referenced his weight or his eating. But they had talked about, like Matt said, you've gotten thinner and filled out muscle. Like I can hear it in your steps.
Right.
And now he's filling back out. Is it stress? Is it eventually going to be him snapping as mayor and basically becoming dictator?
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what the political side of Kingpin's gonna do, because he can come back and be Kingpin. He can be this like boss and kill people
And be the mayor.
right, but
And
it's the mayor side that it's how does that stay the mayor side without chaos erupting? Like how can he put out this mayor unless it's like a militant takeover starting with this task force of police?
Sure.
Otherwise, somebody from outside New York and other cities, a larger agency, anybody
The
would.
CIA is also right there. Like the CIA,
right?
like
they would clearly be like,
like
as soon as Kingpin steps out of line once, somebody's gonna stop him. So how does right? I'm interested to see how that
Thunderbolts is
storyline
directly
continues.
affecting New York. Like it's all happening in New York. The CIA owns Avengers Tower, so
And I thought, do you know if the quote was real or fake about Sentry's power?
Oh, like the one where the little spot that said that he's stronger than all the Avengers rolled into one?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm sure that's what LaFontaine says. Contessa de LaFontaine. Sure, she
Yeah.
says something like that because I think she's trying to sell the U.S. government that they don't need the Avengers; they just need Sentry.
Which
And the
we've talked
CIA
about it.
owns
That's kind of
yeah,
true.
right. And the CIA owns Sentry basically.
Kind of like
So
the whatever owned Vision.
right, yeah, the sword. Yeah,
So, yeah. Which how are you gonna implement that? They
right,
couldn't, and eventually it'll be the same exact situation with Sentry. They won't
right,
be able to implement ownership over somebody because they're
right,
a human.
right.
Um. Yeah, I really like the Kingpin aspect of it. It was just brutal, and it was cool to see his development. You can kind of see Vanessa has lost her like fear of him, and it's like she's more in love with him now. It's like
Sure.
she was scared when he was changing, and now maybe he's just more predictable, or she just truly likes it better. But now that he's going more evil again or
That's what she
dark,
wants. That's
she's
kind of what she
happy.
thrives on, right?
Right, and she seemed way more happy in these episodes compared to the first
Right.
couple.
Yeah,
So
she wants to be the kingpiness. The kingpiness.
yeah,
I don't know how the queen pin. There we
Queen
go.
Pin.
Yeah.
Well, and like I just know, I think they did a really good job of portraying that. It was really cool.
Another quick tidbit, something they changed Muse's look from the comics. They just gave him like red eyes, like red painted eyes onto a
Yeah,
mask, and I love the fact that you can see his eyes
yeah, I
in
think that's
this.
sick.
I thought it was sick because you can see the emotions on his face. Like it was like fear / holy shit, you know, when Daredevil came running at him. It was like, oh gosh, who is that?
Yeah,
Like
I thought that was a nice, and it was when he was kind of just creeping through the tunnels. It added to like the scare factor. It was like, okay, this dude's like intense. Or even
right,
when he the scene where the two women come up to him and they're like, "Are you Muse?" Dumb
yeah,
fucking just
stupid,
are you
yeah.
Muse, the guy that's been killing people?
That straight up like from the comics. Like in the comics, they asked Muse like there was two girls that asked Muse for a selfie. So
Ugh.
I thought that was pretty cool that they took that directly from the comics, and then it turns out that he's just going to take their eyes and leave them dead on the street.
Okay,
So
I couldn't that was one of the things I couldn't tell if he was like ripping out eyes or like carving the face or both.
she feels like he definitely took the eyes.
And see, like at first I was like, or is he taking that machine and like sucking that's like blood running down their eyes and the machine leaves that pattern.
I want to say he's sucking out the eyes. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, it was
Because like that's
brutal.
kind of because if you think about like his comic book costume where you don't see the eyes and it's just like painted on red, that's exactly how the victims look. It's just like that like comic version of Muse. So I want to say that he's taking the eyes for some reason for his art. So
Yeah, maybe it helps with the blending process of his
yeah,
little
exactly.
concoction.
Right.
God, it's cool because it's a brutal side that the MCU hasn't really
Yeah,
done
I want to
much.
say like commend that too. I had one of my employees come in today, not working, but as I worked alone today. Anyway, he came in today and I was talking to him a little bit, and I was like, I just want to say like that this is super cool because it is the MCU, but there's like swearing and violence, and it's like this is a part of the MCU we've never really had. And so to see like Matt Murdock, like you see him in No Way Home and he's very proper and lawyer like, and now you see him just go fuck it and put his suit on and beat the shit out of somebody and
He's a really
snap
good
someone's
lawyer.
arm and snap someone's leg and fight Frank Castle. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome. And I
it's
think a
cool.
lot of
It's
people.
also a straight up explanation for people who are trying to jump on the ratings not being as high for Daredevil.
It's no
They
Snow
lose.
White. I mean, but
Well, they don't. They lose a huge portion. Like the watch numbers are down compared to the last couple of shows,
sure.
and they. I feel like people aren't factoring in like if you even have. There's a lot of families out there that if they have a 14, 15-year-old, might tell them no, they can't watch it.
Right.
I think you're losing your teenage audience or a large chunk of that teenage audience because they can't watch it, or even younger. Like, I mean, people were saying when they came out with Miss Marvel, they said that their target audience was like her age.
Sure.
Um,
Like 15, 16.
and that like did insanely well. Agatha all along was targeting a younger demographic, and that did really well. And Daredevil is now targeting an older demographic. And it's like the viewers' ratings are really good of it, but the watch numbers aren't as high because a lot of people can't watch or
Right.
won't be able to watch if their parents are telling them they can't. It is on Disney Plus.
Right.
And so I feel like the fact that the people that are watching it are loving it for the most part, that's good enough for me. I don't care if it doesn't
Oh, yeah.
break
And
watch
I mean, the viewership
numbers.
numbers aren't bad either.
Right,
Like, it's
exactly.
not bad. It's they're good viewership numbers. It's just it's not as high as some of their other like Loki or WandaVision or some of
Right.
these like more notable ones.
And nowadays people's expectation is you improve on what have you done for me lately, so you have to beat the most recent one.
Right.
So it's because it didn't get more viewers than Agatha, it was viewed as a flop when it was like, no,
Right.
it still
And you
did
see a
well.
lot of MCU projects where they're like dogged the entire way through, and then after like the final episode comes out, it's like, oh well, the consensus is that it's really good.
Oh, you mean
And
like
so
Eternals and Shang-Chi rubber
right.
banding back to people liking it. And
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you get a lot of that. So like after the fact, I'm sure people are going to be like, this is bad, like this was badass. And I can't wait for season 2. So
yeah, the
um,
fact that we get a season 2, just like with Loki, when you watched season 1 knowing there was going to be a season 2 was a lot
right.
more hype
And you can leave
building.
things open ended, which is also
Exactly.
something nice.
As opposed to a trend that MCU has shown lately where if you leave things open ended, it might not come back. We
Right.
don't want that to be happening with shows. So, um, yeah, I'm glad we know that this is kind of building up for, like, even though this is really good, it's building up for like a continuation of it,
Right.
which, oh, so cool. I can't wait. Can't wait.
And just a quick tidbit because this does involve Daredevil or Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox was one of the chairs in the Doomsday cast list.
He
So
was.
super exciting that we're going to see him in a big project, not just a series. You know, it's he's going to have a notable position in this, you know, in this thing. So super cool.
I am interested to see what sort of storyline surrounding Doom would involve all these universes.
Right. My thought, and this is just completely wrong, but just thinking about everything, um, is that Doom wants to like rule, right? That's my assumption is that he wants to rule. And so what I think he's going to do is he's going to be like, well, I want to figure out which is the strongest of them all to rule. And so he's going to put a world of Avengers and Defenders against a world of X-Men, against a world of Fantastic Four, maybe, and be like, hey, like you guys don't exist in every universe, so like battle it out, battle it out, and to decide which universe is worthy of being ruled. I guess that's kind of how I think it's gonna go, because you got all those old X-Men actors coming back. Like that's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. But you got to establish more street level people because it can't just be Daredevil and Spider-Man.
Right.
And you know, Tom Holland's name wasn't on that cast list. Neither was Ryan Reynolds or Hugh Jackman. But right after that cast movie video thing, Robert Downey Jr. said, I can't wait to see if there's going to be more or something like that. And then Marvel Studios responded to him and said, "There's always room for more." So a lot of people think that like there is going to be more names. They're just kind of leaving that in suspense while they figure out when we can get Tom Holland and when we can get Ryan Reynolds and
That's
when we
part
can
of
get
it,
Hugh
I'm
Jackman.
sure. The
So-
legal discussions with that are probably going to delay those.
Right.
But we've gotten, you got James Marsden was talked about. And I think
Right.
you also have the side stories that could be also needing some legals with like Netflix and stuff. But people are talking, and like he said, the guy who played Luke Cage said he would love to play Luke Cage again. Guy who played Iron
Finn
Fist said
Jones.
he'd love to. Yeah, he said I'd love
Mike
to play Iron
Coulter.
Fist.
Mike Coulter, Finn Jones.
And
So
then
he
Christian
said, "Give
Ritter.
me a fucking chance, man."
Right, exactly. Like all of them are saying, like, bring us back. You got
Christian Ritter probably gonna be back anyway, so it's like.
and there was one of the people
keep that
from the
continuity.
Eternals was also talked about. Like, yeah, we deserve we get sad to see the reaction when now people are saying it. So whatever. So clearly there's a desire for some of the people that didn't get their chance. Channing Tatum, who's going to be in it.
Who's going to be in it, right?
Right, to get their chance moving forward. I think it'd be, I think it would be interesting, if not probably going to happen, that end of this season or season 2 will involve multiple, if not all, of the Defenders.
Right.
Otherwise, like Daredevil's not back to the extent of the comics.
Yeah. How do you get them? And maybe you just you bring Christian Ritter back for Daredevil season 2, and then you do a Heroes for Hire type thing where Mike Coulter and Finn Jones are already established as like Heroes for Hire.
Especially because the rest of the MCU seems to be building up into teams.
Right. Yeah, you already got the Guardians. You got their Avengers being built. You have I believe they're going to go with the name Champions for the Young Avengers.
Okay.
You
got the Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts. You got all these groups. You're right. So
Captain America saying he's going to assemble a team.
Right. The Fantastic Four is already a team. The X-Men are already a team. But where does
and they might fit into a larger team.
Right. And Spider-Man is not a part of a team. And the Defenders are not a part of a team. And you've had references to Spider-Man in this show, multiple references. So you can put Spider-Man with them, with those guys, with those Defenders. So, yeah, I think that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
I would agree. Anyway, episode 5 and 6 were awesome. The show continues to get better. And was there 8 or 9 total?
I think there's 9.
9? Okay,
that's what I
thought. 9. Only a few more episodes to go, and they can probably leave a lot open. It doesn't seem like much of the storylines, in my opinion, are on any sort of decline. Like, that didn't feel like the climax of any of the storylines.
Right.
So we still got a ways to go up before we can go down.
Yeah, it almost is like the start of the storyline in some aspects. In the Muse aspect, in the Kingpin aspect, in the Daredevil aspect.
Punisher still like a little like fizzing there.
Yeah, and I don't even know how much Punisher is going to really be involved because he is getting his own special.
Right.
So you can leave him open-ended. Like, he doesn't even have to come back, really.
Sure.
And, yeah, the only thing that's kind of been a constant is, like, the what if with the girlfriend. I forgot her name already.
Heather.
The what if with Heather has basically been it.
Yeah.
It's been the constant the entire time. And then now the start is kind of starting for the rest of them.
Yeah. So, if you're still questioning whether or not you should get into this show, I feel like now is the time, because I think from here on out will be, you can't join in at this moment.
Right.
Like, I think episodes 7, 8, 9 are going to be like, oh no, you need to be like watching those as they come out.
Sure.
Anyway, do you have anything else? I really like those episodes a lot.
I think we touched on a lot of pieces. So
I'd love if you touched on my piece next.
Same.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things that make us happy and make you happier in the future. You look great today. GG.
GG. Yeah, Lucy.